Can you travel to Kosovo with diabetes? Yeah, but don't do it like I did. As part of my months-long European odyssey, my travel partner and I entered Kosovo with plans to visit a few towns and explore the culture and everything. But we caught Kosovo at a bad time and had to suddenly split for somewhere safer. The strange and stressful situation, paired with the fact that we weren't exactly free to roam around looking for regular restaurants and had to eat from the small supermarket outside the hotel, made my blood sugars very volatile. It's a good story and might be the type of thing you encounter while traveling, diabetic or not. Hi, I'm still Jeremy. This is my blood sugar report from 3 memorable days in Kosovo. The blood sugar data set from Kosovo is small. We arrived on a Sunday evening and left on a Wednesday morning, and there were only 12 blood sugar checks the entire time. They ranged from 42 to 389 and their average was 202. That 389 would turn out to be a very significant reading though, in a good way. In case you don't follow the politics of the Balkan Peninsula, Kosovo was a province of Serbia that considers itself closer to Albania than Serbia. It declared its independence, but Serbia and some other countries still consider it a part of Serbia. The country I'm from, the United States, and the country I live in, Japan, both recognize Kosovo's independence. I really personally have no opinion one way or the other, I just wanted to visit and see what it was like. But that situation, when I was there anyway, is why it's got a dotted line on this map. It's not a statement one way or the other. Anyway, when we crossed into Kosovo from Serbia on our bus, at 3 different points someone came into the bus, took up everybody's passports, wrote the numbers down, and gave them back. Kosovo considers us as entering their country, but Serbia doesn't consider us as leaving theirs. So we never got an exit stamp from Serbia. When we arrived in the Kosovo capital, Prishtina, we were just dropped onto the side of the road outside of town. We had reservations at a hotel but had no idea where we were or how to get there. A man and woman who had also gotten off the bus and spoke English said they were Serbian journalists and we could ride in their taxi with them. But all of our bags wouldn't fit, so they asked some guy loitering around if he'd drive us to our hotel. We thanked them and then got into this stranger's car. He took us right to the hotel and even insisted on walking us up to the front door. The friendly ride was €3. A little strange, but a good introduction to Kosovo. We checked in and I noticed a TV with some urgent-sounding news on it. But, not speaking Albanian, I couldn't understand it. After all this, in the room, my blood sugar was 151. Too tired to explore Prishtina on a late Sunday night for dinner, we settled for cereal, yogurt, and potato chips from a market across the road. The next morning, we had breakfast in the hotel. It was a great meal, full of meats and breads and fruit and even American-style coffee. The junk food dinner had made me 214, and the breakfast had more carbs than I thought. Despite my shot, I was 353 afterwards. Note the sarcastic smile. Okay, now, in the 1990s, President Bill Clinton took Kosovo's side over Serbia, and Kosovo seems to love America for it. At least, generally speaking. Under the gray skies and along the poorly maintained, haphazard streets of Prishtina, we walked past the Western Union down George Bush Boulevard and turned right onto Bill Clinton Boulevard. At the bottom of the hill is a statue of Clinton, holding the document to authorize military help for Kosovo. He smiles and waves to a row of dingy buildings on a dusty highway. But my travel partner was feeling very bad. The air was dirty. She was having trouble even standing. We made it back to the hotel, but I had to carry her the last couple blocks. She collapsed into bed and slept fitfully, with labored breathing. She refused my offers to call a doctor and was soon feeling a little better. After some research, we found that 2 days earlier there had been a demonstration around George Bush Boulevard where police had used tear gas. That must still be in the air. No wonder Prishtina seems so gray and dirty. I always think travelers should keep abreast of local political unrest, just in case. But I admit I wasn't tuned in to the delicate issue of Serbia and mine nationalization in Kosovo. An error on my part. We didn't know there had been any unrest that very weekend. As for me, well, at least the walk around town agreed with my blood sugar. The second meal of cereal, not so much. It had been a very strange day, and we obviously didn't feel like going out for dinner. It was up to me, and when you leave me in charge of dinner, this is what you get. Oddly, this junk food meal again agreed with my diabetes, and I was 148 afterwards. After a 4 a.m. low of 42 and some cookies, I was 200 even when I woke up on Tuesday. We had the hotel breakfast again, and as she continued to take it easy in the room, I was getting antsy to go out. I'd read the news and wanted to see if I could get pictures of a building whose windows had been smashed during the protests on Saturday. Down in the lobby, the TV was again tuned into the news. A woman was giving an impassioned speech. The Albanian text suggested something about a protest. It seemed like it might be a live shot. Was this in Prishtina? I didn't know. I went outside. The maze of streets led me towards the town center. There was a kind of buzz in the air. Police were standing around, as if waiting for something. And then I turned one corner and saw a big crowd. Obviously another protest. They were just standing around though, and I started to walk towards them. But suddenly they all started running the other way. That was my cue to leave. I turned around and tried to remember my way back through the winding streets to the hotel. After getting lost and ending up back at the demonstration, I tried again and made it back home. Now, studying the photos I took and looking at this aerial shot of the protest that I found online, I deduced that I approached the area around here. One of these dots may actually be me, which is as close to a tear gas riot as I want to get. The rest of the afternoon I tended to the patient and watched the news on the fuzzy TV in our room. The situation had deteriorated rapidly since I was there. It was bizarre to watch all this, not understanding it, but knowing that this was all happening just a few blocks away. I could see buildings and shops I recognized, like the Western Union on George Bush Boulevard. In the midst of all this, I was 293. Fair enough. I took some Humalog and before dinner was 86. The TV indicated that the protest was over, the tear gas and rubber bullets having done their job. So again I went to the market across the street for dinner. This time it was burek, the stuffed bread we had first had in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But the events of the day weren't done with my blood sugar yet. 389 after dinner. The next morning, after a reading of 172 and our third filling hotel breakfast, we checked out and took the taxi to Prishtina bus station and bought tickets out of Kosovo, bound for Macedonia, which is now called North Macedonia. Our plans of seeing monasteries and little towns all around Kosovo were cancelled. Not a good time to be here. As we rode out of the country, past endless dingy fields and used cars and auto part lots, we were both glad to be leaving and sorry we couldn't see more of Kosovo under better circumstances. I thought back to the journalists we'd met on the first night there. Maybe that should have clued me in. And I thought about Reuters calling Tuesday the worst unrest since independence in Kosovo. And about that 389 from the last night in the hotel room. That would prove to be a huge turning point in this trip. We visited 5 more countries after Kosovo over the next month, and out of the 115 remaining blood sugar checks on this trip, only 2 were over 300. My average dropped into the mid-hundreds. The stress and highness of Serbia and Kosovo were over. The other side of bad blood sugar is good blood sugar. The next country is, as it was controversially called at the time, Macedonia, a much calmer place than Kosovo had been, and the place where my blood sugars really started to straighten out. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos for travel tips, stories from my own travels, and my experiences as a type 1 diabetic wanderer. See you on the road.